so thankful that you accepted my request. So, for my audience, kindly introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Steve Mack. I coach people in English to try and help them improve their natural speech when they have English conversations. I'm British, so I teach British English. And this is my normal accent. I don't speak with received pronunciation. I speak like the majority of English people do.
All right. That's a wonderful introduction. And I'm so curious to know from you. May you spill the beans about your journey? I mean, why you started your channel? What inspired to be on this YouTube platform?
Can I just say I love the expression spill the beans? That's so very English. Well done. Um, I It all happened because of the COVID pandemic. Um, I'm retired. I'm very old now. I'm nearly 66 years old. And so I retired from my job. I used to work for the government. And I was sat during the COVID pandemic and I was bored because we weren't allowed to go out of the house. So I was just sat in, and a friend of mine taught English to people all around the world on a platform and said I should try it. So I joined this platform just because I needed something to do. And I fell in love with all the lovely people from every continent in the world, from Japan to Brazil, from India, oh, all over Europe, everywhere. And I loved being able to talk to them and help them and also get their story, where how they were dealing with this crisis, this pandemic. And because I liked talking to people, I loved it. And when the pandemic was over, someone suggested I start a YouTube channel. So 2.5 years ago, I put up my first video. And all I did really was, because I'd taught so many students around the world, I knew what their problems were, in terms of pronunciation, and different countries have different problems with pronunciation. So I could help with that. So my first lesson was how to pronounce an English letter R correctly. And then it went on from there, really. Another problem people were telling me was they didn't have anyone to practice with. They couldn't speak to a native speaker because
Right.
there simply wasn't
Yeah.
one that they could use. And also, not everyone can afford private lessons. I do private lessons and they're very expensive. I understand that. So by putting up free videos, I thought I'll be able to help people. So that's the story of my channel. And so far, over 60,000 people are watching it. And I'm very grateful to them all.
Wow. That amazing to know. And I think that to a certain level, we are on the same boat. This is a kind of story behind my journey as well. And when I drink tea, I must disclose the secret to you. When I drink tea in the morning, I always watch your videos. And
Ah,
I have been same. I have been following you for a long period of time. I especially loved that Liverpool episode where you talked about your coffee, the Pelican crossing. I learned so many words. I mean, I think that British English is somewhat amazing. And when I watch your videos, I always have a pen and notebook because I knew when Steve is there, you need to learn something unique. So I come across so many words through your channel, through your episodes that I haven't heard before. I used to Google every time, but now because of you, I can understand most of the words naturally. So thankful to you from the bottom of my
you're
heart.
very kind. You're very kind. And hopefully you download I do the guidebooks to most of the videos, not all, but nearly all. I do a little guidebook as well, which And again, free. I understand in this day and age, money for most people, it's a struggle just to get by, to pay bills. So I think learning English, as much as I can make it, it should be free.
Right.
So the guidebooks hopefully have helped you as well.
I want to ask you a very, very interesting question. What is one British word actually foreigners often misunderstood? Because most of the time I have been hearing this from lots and lots of people that they can understand American English. But when it comes to British English, it's quite tough. The accent matters a lot, and they couldn't understand what is rolling out of their tongue. So, what do you think, according to could you recall that one simple word, I mean, which is very important in English to use, but their accent is a problem for most of the English learners?
Yeah. And I'm not sure if I can narrow it to one word, but I go to America a lot. Yeah, I've been almost to every state in America, and all the Americans can understand me, usually. I love their accents. The main difference between the British accent and the American accent is really it's the pronunciation of the letter R, which I said
Mm.
Americans, the technical word for it is a rhotic language. So they overpronounce the R. So where we would say butter, Americans would say butter. So they'd put a
Yeah,
R on the end. Cleaner,
right.
doctor. Whereas we use the schwa sound, which is the most common sound in English. It's a little sound. It's a simple sound to make. Just open your mouth slightly, lower your tongue, and from here to make this little uh sound. So instead of butter, we just go butter, doctor, sister.
Oh,
And that's a huge difference in the pronunciation. Um, in terms of words, there's so many differences. We say rubbish, Americans say trash. We say pavement, they say sidewalk. But
so
because there
many.
is so much American TV, so many American TV shows and movies, we're all used to the American vocabulary now. So, we might say, they'd say lawyer. Well, it'd say lawyer with a big R, we'd say lawyer. We'd say solicitor, someone who deals in the law. But we understand because there's so many police programs and detective programs from America. The vocabulary really isn't very important now. It's the pronunciation.
Yeah.
How do you find it? Do you have problems switching between the two?
No, I don't find because I have been learning English since my childhood and it's my passion. It's not just a language for me, it's my passion. When I watched your video for the first time, seriously, I couldn't understand any single word. I couldn't understand. But I love that to learn something, you need to come out of the comfort zone, right? To learn something new, something unique. So, what did I do? I followed the strategy of reading the subtitles. So, slowly and gradually, I found myself to, I trained my ears to understand those words. Now, today, when I watched your video, I was able to understand everything. So I said, wow, it was a good moment for me as well.
Brilliant.
And we people, sometimes we learners, we are quite confused what accent should we follow. Should we follow British accent or American accent or Indian accent? And I would always suggest that go for the neutral accent because I personally believe that clarity is important rather than accent. So, what's your take on that?
100% agree with you. It's all about communicating. So it doesn't matter what accent you use. If the person you're talking to understands what you mean and you can understand them, that's what language in action is all about. And it's very different when you say an American accent. A New York accent where they go, I want a cup of coffee, is different than a Texas accent. Well, I'm going down there. The two different accents. And the UK is almost unique in having so many accents.
Right.
We haven't really got a standard. People use this received pronunciation as the standard English, and it's the one that most people seem to learn in the classroom. And it's very clear, and it sounds a bit like this, and it's what the royal family, the King of England, would speak like this. How are you today? And it is quite easy to understand. I understand why it's taught. The problem is less than 3% of the people who speak English as a native speaker actually speak that way. So if you've learned in the classroom that someone will say, I am going out to the shop today, and then you come to England and hear a native speaker and they go, oh, I'm just going down the shops, you know what I mean? Like, and you think, what was that noise? So I would urge people, you've got the basics of English, start moving into listening to other accents. And there's lots of brilliant YouTube teachers out there from England, and they all have slightly different accents. But I would urge you to move away from the ones who say, I teach RP because that's the only accent. It's really not. And your ears will be trained. I come from a city called Liverpool, which really is famous for three things. We have football, we have the Beatles pop group, and we have the friendliest people in the world. We just do. We like to talk, but we have a strange accent. So my friends, they all talk, all right, girl, how you doing? Do you want a chicken butty and a can of Coke? That's difficult the first time. But when you listen to it a few times, and I explain that accent on my channel, suddenly your ears get trained and used to it, and it's a fun thing. Learn lots of different accents.
Right. Because English is a matter of communication, and C for communication and C for clarity. And most of the people, they live their life on thin ice, and they think that we have to follow a fake accent. And in that misconception, they fall for it, and they couldn't understand their own accent. So the moral is that follow your guts, do whatever you like, and enjoy the process of learning this language. So, Steve,
Couldn't agree with you more. Could not agree with you more. If you can't dip your toe into learning a language, any language. You just can't go part way in. It's like learning to swim a little. You need to dive into that water and you need to struggle until you can do it. Surround yourself in English. As you're drinking water, think in your head, I'm drinking water. Schwa sound at the end, not water, water. I'm drinking water. I'm putting my glass back on my desk. I'm brushing my teeth. Surround yourself. Get sticky little notes. I have them everywhere with words on that I need to learn from other languages. So on my laptop, I've got the word in Spanish for laptop on my computer. Put them all around your house so every time you see them, you
mm,
think in English. On your way to work, put that car radio onto an English channel. Just surround yourself in it. And within months, you'll be communicating easier and easier every day.
right. And I think most probably prepositions are the neglected ones. And we make most of the mistakes while using prepositions correctly. On the bus, to the bus, get off the bus. So I must suggest, as you have already mentioned, it's very important to immerse yourself as much as possible if you are serious about this language. Otherwise, God bless you. And what advice, Steve? You're the right person to ask this question. What advice would you give to shy people who want to speak English but can't?
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky overcoming shyness. I understand that. I'm not a shy person. You're not really a shy person
No.
either. But I understand it's difficult and you get nervous. What I'd say is everyone is happy when they see someone who's not a native speaker trying to speak their language. Everyone is happy. You know, it doesn't matter. English is a very forgiving language. And you can disregard people who say, oh, the words have to be in this set order. If you spend all your time learning grammar and learning the order of words, of course, it's great if you can do it. But as long as the person understands you, that's the main thing. So if you say, water I want, the person will understand and give you some water rather than I want some water. It's not that important. And the more you practice and the more you listen, your words will naturally find their own way. They really will. Don't don't be put off by too much grammar. I've seen courses, expensive courses on grammar, and I think, oh, you'd be better just having conversations. Just try. No one will laugh at you. I promise you that. Be proud of yourself, build yourself up, and just say hi to someone. Really, that's all you need to do.
Yeah, exactly. And people are, I think that they are too afraid to commit mistakes because they want to be perfect. And in the race, I would say, in the rat race, they never think even to try for it. That, and I personally believe that mistakes are the stepping stones. If you are not committing mistakes, it means you are not learning. So be the best version. Be the best version of yourself instead of wasting your time on others, on just intruding in others businesses. It's better to keep your life on track. And as you have mentioned beautifully, that you must surround with English as much as possible. Like try to describe your daily activities, talk about any object that is lying around you. This is a pen, it's black in color, I have bought it in the morning and its cost is 5 rupees or whatever. And this is my best friend. I love it. Talk to yourself. Like people come up with lame excuses. They don't have any partner to talk to. They can talk to themselves. So without being judged. So that's the best thing I have felt over time. Right.
Absolutely. Talk to yourself in the mirror. But be on your own, otherwise people will think you're crazy and call a doctor to take you away. But if you're on your own in the bathroom with a mirror,
Yeah.
try just saying hello to yourself. Imagine that person in the mirror is me or you, and you're speaking English. Go up and say, hi, how are you today? And then think, well, if that person said it to me, how would I reply? Oh, I'm great, thanks. Thanks for asking. What are you up to today? How would you reply to that? You will get used to speaking to someone, even if it's yourself.
Yeah, perfectly said. And if you practice in a very natural way, then you can think on your feet. I cannot assure, but there are most chances to do so. And last but not the least, before winding up this beautiful session and amazing, that can be a milestone for my channel, one tip from your side for those who want to learn this language. People are gravitated towards this language and they want to learn this language a lot. So what is that one tip according to you?
Because of the internet, and the internet's a marvelous, it's a terrible thing, but it's a marvelous thing as well. It's got two sides to it, the internet. But the good side of it is you can do things like watch British TV shows now. So there's some British TV shows that I recommend. One, it's a strange thing. It's called The Great British Bake Off.
Hmm.
I will send you a message with that on. The Great British Bake Off. And it's a bakery competition. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on, I think it's the BBC's website.
Yeah, yeah,
And although it's about baking, it's a bakery competition, people making cakes. the people come from all over the UK. So they have a variety of styles of speaking. And they don't just talk about baking, they talk about their life as they're making cakes. And it is marvelous to hear these really natural conversations. Watch one season of that, about 10 episodes, and your English level will go up. I guarantee you'll find it so much easier both to understand and to speak in that way. Some, there's parts of the UK, Scotland, and I have trouble with Scottish accents, particularly strong Scottish accents. And sometimes they have Scottish people on there, and they're fantastic. And I listen and think, I can't follow everything. But
Yeah,
don't worry, because the next time you hear them on the next episode, your ears have become trained to that accent.
right,
So
right.
when you hear a Scottish person say, "Oh, the wind's moving trees and the doing again," don't worry, just play it back and play it back, and suddenly it comes in. You think, oh, that's what they were saying. So
Okay.
that and other similar sorts of English TV shows, find something you're interested in. You know, don't watch YouTube channels made by
Hmm.
English people in subject area. If you're interested in cars, find an English YouTube channel about cars. If you're interested in fishing, find an English about fishing because your brain will naturally think, well, I like fishing anyway, and or I like cars. But if I tell you to watch a YouTube channel in English about ballet dancing or the opera, well, I wouldn't watch that. So your brain will switch off. So make English something you enjoy. Choose the easy way. Choose things that light up your brain. You, for example, what sorts of YouTube channels, when you're not learning English, what sorts of YouTube channels do you watch for fun?
Yeah, I watch all the time YouTube channels. My favorite is Dramatize Me. I watch Friends on the regular basis. I watch your videos on the regular basis, and I love your videos. Your videos I find are the stress busters for me. Whenever I feel low, I just watch any random videos of yours, and I start feeling, kicking, and I feel again I'm back to
I'm
life.
so,
So yeah,
I'm
that's
so
true.
pleased.
That's
I watch
true.
Friends as well. I watch Friends. How are you doing?
Yeah. So Steve,
Well,
that's it.
that's very kind of you. That's very kind of you to say. It's been a
Yeah.
pleasure meeting you. You're a delight.
So Steve, did you enjoy this session with me?
I've absolutely loved it. You're an absolute delight, and I'm very grateful that you reached out.